All right, you guys, welcome to another episode of Odds On Favorites. I am here with my guests, Rick and Taylor. We're back here once again. We're sorry we missed last week, but we're going to try to make up for it with a much more exciting episode today. So we're going to run through some segments here. And as always, we're just going to jump right in with our What's Happening segment. Rick, we're going to go a different route here to start. Something that's very near and dear to your heart. We're going to take a little visit to Redneck Country. We're going to talk about NASCAR.
Yes.
All right, so betting at Dover. NASCAR will be in Dover, Delaware for the fourth race of the playoffs. And for the first time ever, NASCAR fans can bet at the track on the race. What are your thoughts on this?
This is historic right here. You know, not only for NASCAR, but for all of professional sports. You know, the playoffs have been exciting so far. You know, at least for me and other NASCAR fans, it's been exciting. They just got through the first round where they eliminated 4 drivers. We got 12 drivers left. This race this weekend at Dover is the first race of round 2, okay? So for those of you who don't know, there's 3 races in the first round, in the second round, and in the third round, okay? This is the first race of the second round. So the key here is Delaware was one of the first states to legalize sports betting, and now that NASCAR has returned back to Dover for the second race of the year. And first of all, Dover is an annual track that NASCAR fans, you know, they look forward to each and every year, and NASCAR drivers look forward to it each and every year. Now, sports bettors, especially in Delaware and Dover, can look forward to it each and every year now because now they can place bets at the track. There's no other professional sport, and we're not counting horse racing. There's no other professional sport as of now, where you can go to the actual venue and place bets on the actual event at the venue. Now, I imagine what's going to happen is, you know, in the states where it's legal, they'll open this up to, say, hockey, baseball, football, whatever else they have, soccer. But for now, this is big news. This is big news for NASCAR. This is big news for sports betting. And this is going to trickle throughout the other professional sports. NASCAR is looking to try and do what they can to expand, to get more fans, to build more of an audience, to get the ratings back up, and this is one way they're trying to do it. They're embracing sports betting where other professional sports are kind of pulling away from it.
I don't think we'll see this at a football stadium anytime soon.
No. I would hope so. Maybe next year, but with the NFL fighting the way they're still fighting, probably not.
Yeah.
You would think they would do it in Vegas whenever the Raiders move there, but I guess they don't want to risk the integrity of the game or whatever their argument is.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
You should be able to go, you know, at a Raider game, you should be able to at least bet on games going on elsewhere, you would think.
I like that idea too. You know, with the NFL and NHL teams starting to partner with sports betting and casinos, you would think what NASCAR is doing right now, this groundbreaking next step, would trickle through the rest of the professional sports leagues. Hopefully it will. We'll see.
It will at some point. Just don't know when.
This is just U.S., right? I mean, they do this like for over in like the U.K., like for their soccer, what they call football. There's betting at the events there, right?
I would imagine, yes.
Good old United States, I guess.
NASCAR. This is the way you start off a show, with NASCAR.
I got nothing else to add. Taylor, anything more on NASCAR? I know you're a huge fan.
Not a thing.
All right.
We're on to Cincinnati.
All right, guys. Back to what we all know. How about some football? Let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. Sources confirmed he should be back for to report to training camp for the Steelers' bye week 7, back in practice. We talked about this a while ago on the prop bet. Think it was anywhere between weeks 3 to 10 he would return, was that prop. So he's coming back week 7. What are we looking at in terms of what the Steelers' betting odds? Let's see if I can pull these up for their conference, for their division even. And should we be drinking the Le'Veon Bell Kool-Aid if he comes back? Or will the Steelers start him? Will they keep James Conner? What are you guys' thoughts here? I'll let you guys talk about it. I'm going to pull up these odds.
Go first, Taylor.
All right. I mean, I think they need him. James Conner had that one big week in week 1, but since then, he's averaged 2.1 yards per carry in 2 of the games and 4.1 in the other. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to Kansas City. They almost lost to Tampa Bay. They could easily be 0-4 right now without him. I think this little stretch has made it evident that he's necessary for them if they actually want to have legit Super Bowl chances this year. What are they? 1-2 or 1-2-1?
Yeah.
Play the Falcons coming up. Falcons are 1-3, but I think they're better than that. I just think without him, they're not going to go anywhere. I don't know if he's single-handedly capable of bringing them back necessarily. I think, it's the AFC. That's the only thing that keeps me coming back to them. It's like, if not the Steelers, if not the Patriots, then who? I'm not fully buying the Chiefs yet. The Chargers are the Chargers. The Jaguars are the Jaguars. So it's like,
what about the Bills?
Oh, just shut up. I mean, yeah, it's obvious how valuable he is. They need him. He needs them. He'll come back soon, and it might be too late, though. I mean, 1-2-1, they haven't exactly had the most difficult schedule so far. They're just not getting results. Ben's look bad. I'm just not really buying them right now, and I don't know how much of a difference he's going to make.
I agree with you there. I'm not sure he's going to make a huge difference. Unless Le'Veon Bell can play defense, he's not going to make as much of a difference as people are hoping for. That defense is atrocious. That's one of the worst defenses in the league. They were up, 30-3 at halftime on the Buccaneers, and then the Buccaneers came back and almost won the game on Monday Night Football. Last week, the Steelers just looked pitiful against Baltimore, both offensively and defensively. They tied Cleveland. They got beat up by the Chiefs. If the Chiefs didn't have a horrible defense and basically sat everybody by the fourth quarter, Steelers would have been blown out of that game too. Atlanta is better. Atlanta has their own injuries, and that's why they have the record they have, but they've lost a couple games late last. With the Saints, they lost in overtime, and with the Bengals, they just lost with 10 seconds left in the game. So Atlanta's a better team. I think Steelers are going to lose this weekend. I think they're in trouble. Their defense is terrible. Le'Veon Bell's – here's my thing with Le'Veon Bell. Okay, I had no problem with him holding out because this is a violent sport, and if you want to hold out to get paid more, that's on you. If fans don't like you after that, well, that's still on you. They have that right. However, why would he comment now saying he's coming back in 3-4 weeks instead of just keeping quiet and just coming back? What is the point of saying it now? That's what irritates me. It's like, I'm all for you doing what you have to do to protect yourself and stuff, but seriously, dude, you don't need to make an announcement, oh, this hurts me to watch my teammates. Oh, but I'm not coming back now. I'll be back in 3-4 weeks, so hopefully they can win until then. But, it hurts me to see. I can see I'm in great shape. I'm ready to play right now. I'm ready to get out there. I'm ready to run the ball. I'm ready to do this and this and this. But not until week 8. Like, it's ridiculous.
Do we know why he's doing that?
No, other than he just doesn't want the extra beating on his body, and he's still back. Like we discussed, if you check the tape, he still accrues his year of eligibility for free agency. He still gets half his salary for this year, which is still going to be over $7 million or whatever. It's going to $7 to $8 million for playing half a season. He can come in and kind of look like a savior if he does tear it up. Ultimately, he's still trying to put the pressure on the Steelers to give him the deal he wants. This was his chess move after the Steelers made their chess move of announcing that they were open to trade offers. And this was his counter move. However, in a lot of people's opinions, he looks terrible now for saying this. It's like you could have just kept your mouth shut, come back when you were going to come back, and that was it. Either people still were going to argue for you or against you. But now you open up a whole nother set of arguments in terms of why would you say it now and not come back now when you say you're ready to play. You say you missed your teammates. You say you want to help them. But no, let's wait another 3 or 4 weeks. Give me a break.
The timing's interesting because Earl Thomas held out at the beginning of the season, in the preseason at least. Didn't get a new deal, came back anyway, and this past week he broke his leg during the game. So that's why you hold out, because you're playing football, and that can happen on any play. And now he's out for the year probably with a broken leg. And
I don't blame – and that's why I don't blame Bell for holding out to try and protect himself for his long-term security. However, there's no need to make an announcement about it saying you're not coming back for 3 more weeks. You're not going to play for 4 more weeks. Like, there's no reason to say that. Either you're going to come back now and help your team that's clearly struggling and try and prevent from going deeper into the loss column, or you keep your mouth shut and wait until you actually come back. If he does come back, if I was Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, I wouldn't even play him for the first couple games. I would bench him to show him who's in charge of the team.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the odds makers are overly buying the hype on Le'Veon Bell coming back at any point either, because they're actually dropping at odds pretty significantly. I know, Rick, you did an article a little while ago, but I'm just looking at the updated odds for the AFC, and the Steelers are down to plus 1,400 odds to win the AFC championship. They're third in their division to win the championship at plus 275. Still ahead of the Browns, but they're getting beat out by the Ravens and the Bengals. So, I mean, their odds don't look that great, and I don't think Le'Veon Bell is going to be changing that.
The Browns look better than them right now.
Yeah.
The Browns do look better than them. You know, and the Ravens and the Bengals don't have as many explosive playmakers as the Steelers do, but they're more complete teams on both sides of the ball than the Steelers are. And Bell's not going to change that terrible defense.
Right.
The only thing he's going to be able to do is if Pittsburgh tries to do a game control, clock management type philosophy with Bell. Other than that, though, they've shown in these last couple weeks that they're not committed to the run. They're more committed to passing the ball. And with that said, their defense gets back on the field faster, and the other team gets to come back and score more points. The Steelers are a hot mess. Stay away from them. I wouldn't bet on them for anything right now.
Do you think they'll trade Bell? Do you see that as a possibility?
I still think there's a possibility they trade him. This drama between the two, I don't see how they're going to be able to get past it. Bell wants his long-term contract. He wants to be paid at least what Todd Gurley's paid. Pittsburgh has shown that they're not willing or ready to commit that much money to Le'Veon Bell or any other running back for a long term. Bell wants it. He'll be a free agent. He's got the more leverage right now. Pittsburgh, Le'Veon put himself above the team, so I can't see how Pittsburgh's going to reward him with a fat contract at the end of the year. If anything, Pittsburgh should try and get as much as they can by trading him, hopefully for their sake, to an NFC team. I've seen people out there say, the Patriots make the most sense for getting Le'Veon Bell. Why would the Steelers trade Le'Veon Bell to the Patriots? Why would they make an opponent that much better so they can't get back to a Super Bowl? Like, it makes no sense. I think they're still going to trade him. I think the odds of them trading him are higher than the odds of them keeping him. It's just a matter if they can get enough back in return.
Taylor, anything else to add on that, man?
I just don't know what the trade market would be for him at this point. Like, the season's almost, I think it's a quarter over by now. Teams kind of know where they're going. Running back is a deep position in the first place. The Steelers aren't going to get a lot back. They might get a number 2 pick, which might be fine with them at this point. But I don't know. I can't see him saving them. I wouldn't bet on the Steelers either in any prop bet, division, conference, whatever.
Yeah.
I would just stay away from them altogether, regardless of what happens to them, until at least we see them turn around, which there's plenty of time for that, but they've dug a little hole here already.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, enough about football. Let's go to some UFC. Let's talk about McGregor and Nurmagomedov. Got UFC 229 coming up. They are the main event, and there is a lot of coverage going down in this fight. Rick, on GamblingSets.org, you've done multiple articles on prop bets, building up how much hype is going on, how much coverage is actually happening on this fight. I know you're my expert on this, so go ahead and take it away for me.
This is going to be the biggest fight in UFC history in terms of pay-per-views. At first, Dana White was saying he expects at least 2 million pay-per-view buys, which would break the all-time record for UFC. Currently, the record was Diaz versus McGregor, too. So, obviously, McGregor is the top draw. Now you get McGregor back after almost 2 years absent. His whole bus attack scandal about 6 months ago or less now. And then he's fighting a guy who's like a cyborg, who's a machine out there. He's undefeated. As you like to say, Cody, your favorite thing about him is he wrestles bears.
Fights bears, dude. That's so awesome.
He wrestled bears as a kid. Now, granted, the bear was on a chain. I would like to see Habib be on the chain and let the bear roam around. That would be more interesting. That bear is going to be Conor McGregor this Saturday. They're looking at potentially breaking 2.5 million pay-per-view buys now. And some outlets are predicting possibly up towards 3 million pay-per-view buys. That's how big this fight is going to be because of McGregor and then his opponent. They didn't even need to do much hype for this. McGregor's name alone is selling it everywhere. However, here's the problem. In the history of the MMA, in the history of the UFC, we've seen classic bouts between strikers and grapplers. And most of the time, the grapplers, the ground wrestlers, the ground and pound, the grinders win these encounters. Bless you. Because they take the strikers down to the mat, and the strikers are unable to successfully defend themselves and survive the ground and pound for the rest of the fight. We're going to see something similar like that this weekend. Now, Habib is the favorite. Last I checked, the current odds were Habib was minus 165. Conor McGregor was plus 145. That's through Bet Online. There's numerous prop bets, like what round it will end in, who will win in what round. I'm covering each of these types of wagers, these types of prop bets on our site, giving you guys different angles to look at, different possibilities of what to wager on, what to bet on. Ultimately, if you're just looking at betting on a winner, you're not looking at anything else. I believe Conor McGregor has the skills to take out Habib this weekend. His striking skills are so elite that one small mistake by Habib coming in for a takedown, lights out. Habib's never faced anybody with the striking skills of McGregor, and his skills got even better after his fight against Floyd Mayweather a year ago. You go up against an elite boxer and you train for months to take on an elite boxer, your skills are going to get better striking. We're going to see that on display. I think Habib's in trouble. I think McGregor has enough talent on the ground to survive, but Habib does not have the talent to survive in a striking fight, in a striking contest. McGregor has a great opportunity here to beat one of the best fighters in the world today. And that's what McGregor's looking for. He only wants the top fights. He got it with this one. It's going to be exciting. It could go either way, but I'm leaning towards Conor McGregor to win this fight on Saturday. I think it's going to be very exciting. It could either end in round one with a knockout, or it can go the full distance. We don't know how it's going to go based on how proficient these two fighters are in their contrasting fight styles. It's going to be exciting. I'm fired up for this fight.
Yeah, I will definitely be one of those pay-per-view buys because I'm excited to watch this. Taylor, do you have anything to add to that? I know you're a huge UFC fan also.
I have less than 0 on that. You're on your own.
Well, if I can speak for my colleague, then I would like to say, what a great opening segment. We got NASCAR and UFC in the What's Happening segment. Like, this is an all-time best. The only thing better is if I ranted for the entire show.
Maybe we'll set that up one of these days.
On the cycling front for today.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Richie freaking Port.
Richie Port's gotten more run on this show than any other show in the entire country.
He's a celebrity now.
Haters make me famous.
I want a percentage of that.
He owes you.
He does.
All right. Well, guys, that's going to do it for What's Happening segment. That's all I got. We're just going to dive right in here to our Gimme Prop section, so stay tuned. Got that one there. All right, you guys, it is time for the Gimme Prop section of Odds On Favorites. We have a couple articles here that were written on gamblingsites.org, different prop bets that we want to talk about and go over that Rick and Taylor have both written. So I'm going to defer to both of them on some different articles that they've written, and we're just going to go over and talk about them. The first one I want to do is Taylor, you did an article on if Shohei Ohtani, am I pronouncing that right? Is a lock for the AL Rookie of the Year. And then I think there were a couple other prop bets in here, but I'll just let you roll with it. Talk to me about your article.
Yeah, so Ohtani is at even money right now to win Rookie of the Year. The other two candidates that I saw odds for are Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres, both Yankees. Andujar is at plus 200. Torres is plus 1,000. You're not really winning money on Ohtani, even money, but I think he's kind of a lock at this point. It looked like Andujar was the favorite for a while because Ohtani missed some time with an injury, but he wound up with pretty similar numbers at the plate to Andujar, and I think he had like 200 fewer at-bats. So that kind of speaks for itself. Ohtani also pitches. He only made 10 starts because of the injury, but strikeout rate about 30%, 3.53 xFIP. He won't pitch next year. He'll just be the DH because he had to undergo Tommy John the other day. But 22 home runs. He slashed 285, 361, 564, 10 steals. I think, Andujar will get some run because he had a great season himself, but the overall impact of Ohtani on the Angels, I think that's just a lock. So, yeah, I would say he is a lock.
Prior to your article, I was thinking Andujar. But after reading your article and your argument, I'm with you on this. I am color me impressed with what Ohtani has done this year. I'm going with you on that one. Even though it's even money, honestly, it probably will go up to he'll be in the negative here soon. So,
yeah,
that's who you believe is going to win. I would say jump on it right now while you can still get even money. And you're right. I don't see how either of the other guys had as much of an impact on their team and then had as much significance in the game of baseball like Ohtani has. I fully agree.
Yeah, he was kind of underreported for a while. Like he came in with a lot of hype in preseason and spring training. They were kind of saying that he was a bust because he struggled in spring training, but from the start of the regular season, he was pretty much lights out. So the overall body of work, I think, speaks for itself.
To shift gears here to football, Taylor, another article you did was on Patrick Mahomes on whether or not he would break the single-season touchdown record.
Yeah, so the single-season touchdown record right now is 55. That was Peyton Manning in 2013. Mahomes tied Manning's record, I think. He had 13 through the first 3 games. He threw 1 on Monday Night Football against the Broncos. So he's at 14 through 4 games. Going back to this, I wrote this last week, so it's not fully up to date. But the odds on Mahomes breaking the record of 55 when I wrote it were plus 700, no minus 1,500. Mahomes has been great. He's been, the biggest story in the NFL, I think, this season. But the Chiefs were always going to slow down. Their offense looks good. They're 4-0 now. But 55 touchdowns is a lot. And he would have to average over 3 per game just to break the record by 1. So, it's possible. But he's a young quarterback. I think the league's going to start catching up to him the more film they have on him. Some teams will see him, for a second time in his division. I just can't see it. 55 is so many touchdowns. Manning threw 7 in week 1 that year. Never really let up. That's one thing. If you're Peyton Manning, he'd been in the league for, well over a decade by that point. Mahomes is going to have some growing pains at some point. He looks like the real deal, but it's still quite early. So, no, I think that's pretty clearly not going to happen.
Yeah, even at that pace of, 3.5 touchdowns a game, he still is close to breaking the record. However, you also got to, going off what you said as well, add to the fact he plays in Kansas City and he's going to be in bad weather later in the year. And then I'm not sure some of the opponents they have later in the year, but as you said, more tape on them. Their defense is atrocious. They give up a lot of points. They got lucky to beat Denver on Monday night. They got that snap off late in the game when clearly the clock was 0-0. Should have been delay a game. Instead, they got a long play, long pass to Tyreek Hill. You know, I think at some point their luck's going to run out a little bit. Sammy Watkins is getting a little banged up. I don't see Mahomes breaking this record. Not in his second year in the league, in his first year as a starter. It's not going to happen. He's got the tools and the talent, don't get me wrong. I just don't see it happen. Like you said, Taylor, 55 touchdowns a lot. It took a Hall of Famer over a decade to be in a position to set that record. I don't see Showtime Mahomes doing it. Not this year.
Their defense being bad should help because that means he should be throwing later in the games and stuff, but they have a tough schedule. They got the Jaguars this week, good defense. At New England the week after that. They play the Browns on the road. The Browns look like a pretty decent defense. They got the Rams later, the Ravens later. That's a lot of good defenses, and then they have division games against the Raiders twice, Broncos for a second time, Chargers for a second time. So
he could throw 20 touchdowns in those Raiders games.
Yeah, that's possible. The Raiders could help him out a little bit, but combination of tough schedule and, you know, an unsustainably hot start, I think that's pretty easily a no at minus 1,500, which you don't want to bet on. So
yeah,
I would just pass on it.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Rick, I'm going to defer to you on this one. You wrote an article on who will play the next Superman.
Woo!
Got some prop bets out here. We got Michael B. Jordan at plus 125, Armie Hammer at plus 350, Idris Elba interesting at plus 600. You got The Rock at plus 900. A lot of interesting candidates here on this lineup. Tell me your thoughts, man.
You know, I found it pretty comical, some of the options they had in there on who can play. They had Nicolas Cage in there. Seriously, Nicolas Cage, really, dude.
I would pay good money to see Nicolas Cage.
Dude is
play
way
Superman.
over the hill. He was rumored many years ago to play Superman or be in the running for Superman or be interested in play Superman. And no way. I love Marky Mark. I've been a fan of him since the early 90s, which is about the time you guys were born. However, he's not a Superman material. The Rock is another option. Here's the thing, and I'm trying to be politically correct with this right now. Okay, and it's hard. You know, you grow up in New York. PC is not something that they teach you in schools or in your home. So, yeah, it's true. At least not in Buffalo. Bottom line is this. I don't see, no matter how talented these actors are, I don't see DC making the shift from the classic, iconic Superman figure to change the skin color for Idris Elba, Michael Jordan, The Rock, or even Will Smith. I just don't see it happen. Maybe 15, 20 years from now. Right now, I don't see DC doing it. Not with Superman. That's like their most iconic figure in the DC universe, that and Batman. With that said, I mean, I love Idris Elba. He's one of my favorite actors. I would love for him to have a major role like this. I just don't see it happen. What I see happen is this. I see, you know, Warner Brothers got their feelings hurt. They got their feelings hurt, okay? They got a little butt hurt over the fact that Cavill was busy doing something else for Netflix, his show on Netflix, and wasn't available to do a cameo appearance in Shazam. Well, that hurt their feelings, and they didn't respond well, and then basically what ended up happening was you have a strained/broken relationship. All the fans still want Henry as Superman. He brought back some stability to this role that has been lacking for a long time. However, with that said, there's still plenty of time before they make another Superman movie. They're talking about going Supergirl and some other stuff first. If that's the case, they don't need Cavill for a Supergirl movie because it'll be about a younger Superman. If they're not going to make another Superman movie for 3-4 years from now, why wouldn't they just bring him back? You telling me money is not going to trump hurt feelings? I mean, give me a break. This is Hollywood here. Okay, they sell out each other all the time. They fight with each other all the time. Money ends up trumping everything. It'll trump this here too. If they don't go with Hank to come back as Superman, the guy, and I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, Roth. He played Superman in 2006, was it? Superman Returns movie, and now he's on Legends of Tomorrow, and he plays a goofy character. Why wouldn't they have him as an option? He did a great job as Superman. The movie was okay. It didn't get – some people loved it. Some people just thought it was okay, but nobody really said it was a terrible movie. He never had a chance to continue with that. They just went on in a different direction, right? Why wouldn't they give him another opportunity? He's already proven he can do it. Why would they drastically change it for other reasons that don't even matter? Cavill will be back. If not, I think his name is Brandon Routh. We'll go with him. That's my pick. And my third pick, The Rock.
The Rock.
Can you smell what the Krypton is cooking?
They got Ben Affleck on this list. They can't have Ben Affleck. He's already Batman. He can't do both.
He's out as Batman.
Same universe. The one I like The Rock there, plus 900. Armie Hammer, plus 350. He has the Superman look, you know? He could be the Clark Kent type. I could see that happening. But yeah, The Rock, the Captain Marvel thing, they made Captain Marvel a woman. They're willing to change some stuff like that. I could see them making, going with the Black Superman, Idris Elba or The Rock, somebody like that. So The Rock at plus 900's 900, not a bad bet. He's in literally every movie and TV show already, so why not just keep it going and become Superman?
He is already Superman.
Who's the most Superman-like person that we can think of in real life? It's probably The Rock. So why not?
Very good point.
Shaquille O'Neal. That'd be interesting too. Or the other Michael Jordan.
That'd be awesome.
Air Jordan.
Oh, man. Very cool, very cool. Well, guys, last one I want to do is, Taylor, I'm going to go back to you to start on this one. You did one on, did a prop bet on Anthony Davis and his likeliness to join the Lakers next summer. What do you think? So
Davis has 2 years left on his current deal with the Pelicans and then a player option for the year after that, so really 3 years. There have been murmurs about his willingness and desire to leave New Orleans. He's been there since he got drafted, I believe, in 2012. They've only won a playoff series once since then. So they're kind of just – it's like the Angels with Mike Trout. Like they have this guy that may be the best player in the league, but he's just kind of wasting away. And we've seen a lot of guys in recent years, including right now, Jimmy Butler. Superstars in the NBA have a way of getting what they want. Kawhi Leonard demanded a trade earlier this summer. Paul George got moved last summer. Blake Griffin got traded. We've seen a lot of star players change teams recently. LeBron, for example, not a trade, but change teams. So if if he tells the Pelicans, like, hey, I want to leave, I don't want to play here anymore, trade me while I still have value, rather than waiting it out and losing him as a free agent, the Pelicans may as well just trade him, get something in return. The line will form to the left if he's on the trade market. The Lakers and the Celtics are the betting favorites. Lakers are minus 190. The Celtics are plus 250. This is to start the 2019-2020 season, so next summer. The Lakers have decent young players to trade for him. I think the Celtics have more to trade for him. And I think Danny Ainge is willing to be aggressive. He's been kind of hesitant to part ways with draft assets and things like that. But if Davis comes along, and he's only 26, I think still, should just be entering the prime of his career, maybe the best two-way player in the league. I think Boston at plus 250 is interesting enough to where I'd rather bet that than the Lakers minus 190. There's not much value on LA anyway. So if Davis is traded next summer, I think Boston is a better bet.
Sorry about that. We got some bad weather up here. I got bumped off. Did it even show that I was disconnected?
Well, actually, yeah, I'm looking at my screen right now, and I got two of you.
Yeah, I have two Ricks.
Yes.
One
awesome.
Frozen Rick, one animated Rick.
Yes. Woo!
Do you think Anthony Davis will get traded, Rick?
Oh, I don't. Did you say he had a player option? That's the last thing I heard before we cut out.
So he's got 2 years left on his deal where he's locked in. Then a year after that, a player option. So really 3 years. But the prop that I'm looking at has him getting traded next summer with one guaranteed year left on his deal.
If the Pelicans can't lock him in long-term or convince him to stay or bring more talent, I think they would be smart to trade him. You don't want him to leave and you have nothing in return. The Kings got rid of Boogie to the Pelicans because they didn't want to lose their franchise player and not get anything in return. So that's a tough one. But I do recall where the odds were where he might end up, and I think he would end up with the Lakers. Like I see no doubt about it. They're trying to build a super team there, and they'll do everything they can to get somebody of that caliber to join LeBron James. I just don't know if the Pelicans would be willing to trade him to the Lakers and make the Lakers that much better of a team. So that's a tough one. Oof. I would like to think that the Pelicans, and for the sake of the NBA, I'm going to go with the fact that they find a way to keep him.
You got Boston at plus 250. The Pelicans are plus 300, and Lakers are minus 190.
I'm going to go, for
Boston.
the sake of the NBA, the Pelicans are going to find a way to keep the big unibrow down in the Big Easy.
Plus 300. It's pretty good.
I like it.
Very cool. Well, Rick, before you get frozen and leave us again, I think that's going to do it for our Gimme Prop section. So we're just going to wrap up this section here and just jump right into our next one. All right, you guys, it is time for the spread and butter portion of Odds On Favorites. Got a couple games here lined up that we're just going to go through. We're going to discuss the spread, try to find where the value is on some of these games. Going to have Rick, I'm going to let you take this first one to start us off because I know you love the Bills just as much as I do. So we're going to talk about the Titans at Buffalo. The Bills are coming in, no surprise, as the dogs at a 3.5-point spread. What do you got for me?
I actually thought Buffalo would be getting more points than that when I first looked at the lines because they just came off a 22-0 loss at Green Bay. However, what people got to realize is Buffalo has had one of the toughest first 4 weeks of the season. I don't know of any other team who's had it tougher. You play Baltimore, Chargers, at the Vikings, at the Packers back-to-back. Now you get to come home, and you have to go up against a team that's 3-1, that's featuring a top 10 defense. The only saving grace here is Tennessee doesn't have a great offense. Mariota has not played great. This last week against the Eagles was the first time he's looked good since last year. I think Buffalo has a chance in this game. I like the spread of plus 3.5 because even if Buffalo were to keep it within a field goal, they would still cover the spread. So I'm going to take the Bills here in the points at home. Their defense is coming on strong. They had several opportunities to pick off Aaron Rodgers last week. They only got one, but they had at least two more. They've caused some fumbles. They were getting after him. Their offense just couldn't produce anything, so the defense kept coming back on the field. The defense looks much better. Usually when you hold Green Bay to 22 points, you have a chance of beating them. So I feel like this week they're going to have a good chance of holding the Titans offense down to below 20. I think if they can – first team to get to, let's go 24 points is going to win this game. I'm going with the Bills to cover the spread, and I think they're going to win at home, and we're all going to be singing and dancing.
This game has the lowest total of the week, 39 points. As of now, I think it's going to be gross. I think it's going to be low scoring and pretty ugly and bad to watch. The Titans, like you said, pretty good defense. I don't see how the Bills – I said this before the Vikings game when they dominated, but Josh Allen got sacked 7 times last week. LaShawn McCoy has done nothing all year. Chris Ivory's kind of eating into his work. I just don't see how the Bills' offense is going to get much going on here. They took the Vikings by surprise. I think the Titans, I expect them to be at least better prepared than the Vikings were that time. The Packers definitely weren't caught off guard. 3.5 points is not a lot. I'm just not a buyer in the Bills, sadly, as you guys know. I'm not the biggest Titans fan in the world either, but 3.5 is just really small, so I'll take Tennessee to cover it.
Not drinking the Bills Kool-Aid, huh?
The Bills Kool-Aid's laced with poison, so better stay away. Sorry, guys.
I'll go with the Bills till I die. All right, guys, here's an interesting one. We got the Broncos at the Jets, and the Broncos are coming in as the dogs here for a 1-point spread. Taylor, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't really get that. I think Denver is the better team here. The Jets have not been impressive since week one.
Mm-hmm.
They got crushed by the Jaguars last week. They lost to the Browns, so, that's not good. Denver's had 2 tough losses in a row. There's a chance they could be 1-3. They snuck by the Raiders in week 2. Case Keenum's looked a little wobbly, but all that said, I think Denver just has more talent on both sides of the ball. I think they established the running game this week, which is something they haven't really done yet. And, Sam Darnold's been pretty uneven so far. Not great. Anytime you can get a team like the Jets -1 at home, I think you have to bet against that. So I'll take Denver.
Yeah, I was really surprised as well. I think it's partially because Case Keenum has not been playing great. He has more interceptions than he does touchdown passes. But what they have to keep in mind is they just played a tough divisional game against arguably the best team in the AFC and held their own all the way down to the end of the game. And then the week before, they were across country at Baltimore, who has arguably the best defense in the league right now. And that's a tough place to play at. And they played pretty solid football game that week. They didn't get blown out. They kept it pretty close, or at least respectable enough. So to come in against the Jets, who are quite possibly one of the worst teams in the AFC, like they're right there with the Raiders and Taylor's Browns. And like you said, Sam Darnold, everybody was hailing him as the next great young franchise quarterback after week 1. And then he has played poorly more than he played good over the last 3 games. I think Denver has the defense to make Darnold's day tough. I think they can help shut down the run. Kansas City had a lot of weapons. Baltimore had a better defense. The Jets have neither. I think Denver wins pretty handedly in this game. I'm comfortable in saying Denver wins by a touchdown or more.
Mm-hmm. How about we have another 1-point spread game here with the Packers at the Lions, with the Lions coming in as the dogs. I expect the Packers to be the favorites here, but do you think that 1-point spread is a little too low, Rick?
I do think it's too low. Once again, Detroit went down to Dallas and kind of flopped. Like they should, after beating the Patriots like they did 2 weeks ago, they should have been riding higher, more confidence and stuff. And instead, they go down to Dallas and they let Ezekiel Elliott just stampede them all game long. Now you face Aaron Rodgers. It's a divisional game, so you have more experience and confidence and knowledge playing against the Packers. The Lions do. However, that defense is susceptible to big plays. That defense is susceptible to giving up a lot of yards on the ground and through the air. I think Green Bay has showed that they have the talent on offense to whether run it down your throat or throw the ball with Rodgers. I think their defense showed that they're getting better under Mike Pettin. I don't see how the spread is so low. Green Bay should stomp Detroit this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay won by double digits.
I kind of like Detroit here.
Yeah.
The Packer offense, Randall Cobb is questionable. Geronimo Allison is questionable. They didn't really look that great against the Bills. Like we were saying, Aaron Rodgers completed just over half his passes through what could have been multiple interceptions. The running game's not really been there all year. I just, and Rodgers is still playing with that injury. I just don't really see the Packers being that dominant team that we're used to seeing right now. The Lions have been close. They could pretty easily be 3-1. They got crushed by the Jets at home, but since then they played the Niners and Cowboys closely on the road, lost both times narrowly. They're at home for this one, big divisional game. The Lions have played them tough for years. Matthew Stafford's typically better at home, playing in that dome. The spread is uncomfortably close. I wish the Lions were getting more points here, but I think I'll take the Lions just to win outright. I just don't see it with the Packers, the injuries going on. The defense is pretty unproven. They looked good last week, but they were playing the Bills. So, I'll go opposite of Rick here. I'll go with Detroit at home to at least. Well, they'll win. It's a 1-point spread, so I guess I have to take them to win.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go with the game. Let's go with the game with a 3-point spread. We got the Falcons at Pittsburgh, and the Falcons are actually coming in as the dog, which I'm surprised to see with how crappy the Steelers have been playing, as we discussed earlier in the show. Taylor, talk to me about Atlanta. Talk to me about Pittsburgh. What do you think about this game?
So Atlanta's had really tough luck so far. They should have won week 1 in Philly, came up short. Should have won 2 weeks ago against New Orleans, lost in OT. Should have won last week against the Bengals, lost on the last play of the game, basically. They're giving up a ton of points. They have all sorts of injuries on defense. Deion Jones, Keanu Neal, Ricardo Allen, Grady Jarrett's hurt right now. They're just getting gashed by teams because they're playing with a lot of backups, and it's hard to win in the NFL when your defense is down several Pro Bowl kind of players. That said, the Steelers, like we were saying, have been also pretty terrible. This just feels trappy. Like we're supposed to buy in on the Steelers being bad and the Falcons being a bad luck team, but a 3-point spread on the road for Atlanta. The Steelers pretty much have to win this game to avoid going 1-3-1. With another game against the Browns coming up, the mighty Browns. I guess I'll take the risk and go with Atlanta. It's hard to see them going 1-4 here. Their offense is playing well. The defense just hasn't been able to keep up. Steelers' defense is vulnerable too. I'm comfortable with Atlanta. I imagine that's a popular bet, but I'll side with them.
I'm going with Falcons in the points. Devontae Freeman is expected back, or at least that's what the head coach believes. That's going to help the running game. I think whichever team can establish the run will have the best chance at winning. I think both of them can air it out. It's going to be a battle of the 2 best receivers in the league, and I've already been on the record saying I believe Julio Jones is the best receiver in the NFL, and I believe he's going to have a big game this week. And even if he gets taken out, you got Ridley and Sanu who can easily tear it up as well. This is the one team on offense that has enough weapons to match the Steelers' weapons on offense. However, I believe it'll come down to the run game and who can ever establish the run, get some first downs with running the ball, maybe get some points with running the ball, control the clock by running the ball. I think that's who's going to win the game. You have to go with Atlanta here, even though they have a worse record by, virtue of that tie that the Steelers got. They have looked better as a team than Pittsburgh has. Going with the Falcons. Give me the points. Give me the Falcons.
Okay. Let's switch gears here. Let's go college ball. I am looking at Notre Dame at Virginia Tech, with Virginia Tech coming in as the dogs with a 5.5-point spread. Rick, how about you lead me off on this one?
I'm going to go on the record here and say I was wrong about Stanford last week. And it hurts me to say that because I really believed in Stanford. I didn't believe in Notre Dame. And what Notre Dame did to them last week was impressive. In my opinion, Notre Dame established themselves as a legitimate college football playoff contender. They've already beat Michigan. Now they've beaten Stanford, and they beat Stanford convincingly. 38-17 at home. They held Stanford's quarterback, Costello, to about 174 yards passing. They held arguably the best running back in the nation to under 100 yards rushing, under 75 yards rushing. They held Stanford, who was putting up 30-plus points a game, who looked very impressive, the Pac-12's best team. They made them look bad last week. Once Notre Dame changed new quarterbacks to Book against Wake Forest a couple weeks ago, he's been tearing it up. Notre Dame looks like a completely new team. With that said, now they travel on the road to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech also just changed quarterbacks, and their quarterback tore it up against Duke. Now, Duke isn't the best of football programs, so I would like to hold reservation before I say whether they're good or not. But what I would like to say is this. I'm concerned about the 5.5 points. I think that's kind of a big spread, being favored going on the road against a more desperate team like Virginia Tech, who has a history of having a good defense and a good team. They have not played that way this this year. I'm going to take Notre Dame in the points, but it's going to be a close game. I think Notre Dame could just squeak by covering that spread. I believe they'll pull away late in the game. I can't get out of my head Virginia Tech losing to Old Dominion 2 weeks ago or a few games ago. Like, it's one of the biggest upsets. I can't imagine them pulling this off. I am on Notre Dame's bandwagon this year now. I believe they can be a legitimate college football playoff contender this year. And I believe if they could beat Virginia Tech convincingly and win a couple of their other games against ranked opponents, they should be in the college football playoffs. They look good.
Got a siren going on in the background here, but
My pick wins.
I agree with you. Notre Dame, they've gotten through the tough part already, Michigan and Stanford. This game is probably the toughest game left on their schedule on the road in Blacksburg. After this, their next toughest games are probably at home against Florida State and at USC. USC's got a guy that should be in high school playing quarterback right now. So I'm not really buying on USC's chances to upset them in the last game of the year. But this week, I didn't even know Old Dominion had football until 2 weeks ago when they stomped Virginia Tech.
It was really their basketball team in football jerseys right there.
They gave up 49 points to Old Dominion. Duke was ranked. That was a good win for them. I know Duke is, Duke and Kentucky are ranked in football right now, which is the world's been turned upside down. But it is kind of a scary spread, 5.5 going on the road, but Notre Dame looks legit. Stomping Stanford is, I was on Stanford too. Clearly that was a bad idea, but I'm sold on Notre Dame now. I'm not going to be picking against them in any of these games. The spread isn't great, but, they can win by a touchdown, I think. The talent gap seems to be big enough for ND, so I'll drink their Kool-Aid, and I'll go on the Notre Dame wagon here.
Going with the Fighting Rudies.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, last game I want to talk about, we'll hit another college ball game. How about Oklahoma against Texas Tech, with Texas Tech coming in at the Dogs at an 8-point spread?
It's actually Texas. It's the Longhorns. It's the Red River Shootout there in Dallas. OU.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
OU hasn't really played anyone yet. They're undefeated 5-0. Texas has played a pretty tough schedule. Beat USC at home. That was impressive. They beat TCU at home. That was also impressive. I'm not ready to buy in on Texas, though. They're like one of those teams. They'll get a string of results, and then everyone's like, oh, Texas is back, and then they'll lose to, Baylor. So 8 points, kind of a lot. It's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. But I'm pretty in on Kyler Murray there for Oklahoma. He looks like he's legit in his lone year playing football before he goes and plays baseball for the A's. He's making the most of it. This should be one of the better games of the weekend. It's typically close, but with the way OU's offense looks, 7 touchdowns last week for Murray, I think they should cover that. Don't be shocked if Texas wins or keeps it close, but I'll side with the Sooners for now.
It's hard to argue against Oklahoma with how impressive they've looked offensively this year. I am not a fan of Texas. Ever since they stunk it up in week 1 against Maryland, when I was all on Texas saying their rebuilt program, they're going to come out this year, they're going to get revenge against Maryland, they go out and lose to Maryland. It was terrible. They looked horrible in doing so. And although they've looked better since then, first of all, USC is a terrible team this year, so I don't count that. But that win over TCU, I just don't think they have enough offensive firepower to match Oklahoma. Even if their defense can play lights out, can they really do it for 4 quarters? No, I don't like the 8-point spread. I would rather have been back at 7, so at least you got a chance of a push or something like that if Oklahoma doesn't play great. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma here. I think they still have more talent on the offense, more explosiveness, and they should win this game, and they should control it from, the beginning of the game until the end. So Oklahoma to cover.
Very cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the spread and butter section. We're out of time here, so we're going to cut this out. We're just going to jump into our next section. Stay tuned. All right, you guys, it is time for the risky bets portion of Odds On Favorites. I got Rick and Taylor here. They're going to outline what the risky bets are for this week, bets that you should think twice about, some that you might want to avoid. They got their picks, so I'm just going to let them roll with it. Rick, I'm going to let you go first here, man.
Okay, here we go. On Saturday, the WWE is in.
I'm not going to let you go first anymore. Taylor, how about you?
Hey, here we go.
Okay.
We talked about The Rock. We've talked about NASCAR. We've talked about UFC. We talked about people wrestling bears. Now we can talk about the WWE.
This is just the best day for you, Rick.
It is an epic day. Saturday, Super Showdown in Australia. For those on the East Coast, it airs live at 5 a.m. For us on the West Coast, 2 a.m. Here we go.
Jeez.
My risky bet. Daniel Bryan, minus 300 against The Miz, plus 220. The lines have jumped from 210 to 300 over the last couple of days for Daniel Bryan. I'm saying it's a risk because of this. If you look at the storylines, if you look at the landscape on SmackDown, which wrestler makes the most sense to move on to challenge for the WWE title? Keep in mind, this match is to determine the number one contender. The Miz is becoming the A-list celebrity. He's got his own show on USA Network with him and his wife. And he has just been bringing it on a weekly basis. He has been foiling this whole Daniel Bryan run from coming back from his injury to skyrocketing to the top. I think they're going to do it again this week. I think there's a chance The Miz pulls off the upset, whether it's by hook or by crook. He's somehow going to win this match. I believe his odds of plus 220 also provide a lot of great betting value. And I believe it's risky bet to take Daniel Bryan this weekend. I'm warning you. Take my advice or not. It's up to you.
Taylor, how about you, man? What risks you got for me this week?
Going to go back to domestic sport with the NFL. One of the best games of the weekend is the Chiefs hosting the Jags. Chiefs right now are 3-point favorites. Undefeated Chiefs. Jaguars are 3-1. I think Patrick Mahomes, like we were saying earlier, is due for regression. Some teams are going to start, seeing what his deal is and preparing accordingly. Jaguars may have the best defense in the NFL. They haven't allowed more than 20 points in any game so far this season. The Chiefs have not scored under 27 in any game. So that's an interesting matchup. But the Chiefs have done it against pretty mediocre defenses. Chargers, a lot of injuries. Steelers, bad. Niners, bad. Broncos, not great. Jacksonville's easily the most sturdy defense they've faced so far. The only question is whether Bortles can actually do anything, but the Chiefs' defense has been giving it up too. They've allowed at least 23 points every week. So I think the combination of everything here, I think Jacksonville on the road at +3 is a pretty good bet. So I even think you can take them outright to beat the Chiefs here. So I definitely like them at +3. Let's go with the Jags.
Taylor with his Blake Bortles.
Yeah, what a surprise. He's going with his Man Crush Monday, Blake Bortles.
BB.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, for all you watching, there's the risky bets that you can watch out for this week. If Rick and Taylor are wrong, you can always just trash them on Twitter, as I always say. Handles are down below. We're going to jump right now into our Easy Money segment, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, welcome to the Easy Money segment of Odds On Favorites. You just heard just a little bit ago in the last segment our risky bets for the week. Here we want to outline some easy money for you guys, where to put the smart money down at, the locks, just where you want to be targeting your money this week. Rick, I think I started you with risky bets. So Taylor, I'm going to let you go here and give me your easy money pick for the week.
So the Rams are so good that it seems like they're easy money every time they step on the field. They're on the road this week in Seattle. Tough game, usually. We think of the Seahawks as a great defense and a tough home team. The Rams are actually 7-point favorites in this game. They just look like the best all-around team in football. They pretty easily disposed of the Vikings last week. It was a good game, but the Rams were pretty much in control throughout the whole second half. The Seahawks, their offensive line remains a disaster. They do have back-to-back wins, but they came over the Cowboys and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are probably the worst team in the NFL, so I'm not buying that. Rams -7. That's a big spread for a road team in the NFL, but I still think just the overall quality of the rosters, the Rams win that by a mile. Once they get a lead, they're good about running the clock out and stifling teams with their defense. So I will take Rams -7 as easy money.
Rick, how about you, man?
Hey, did somebody on this show mention that there's a big WWE event in Australia on Saturday? I was just wondering if somebody, because if not, I'd like to follow up and announce the fact that there's a big WWE show in Australia. It is historic. It's going to be epic. And the easy money pick of this week is taking the Shield in the main event against Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Listen, those three heels have gotten the best of the Shield over the last couple of weeks, including this last Monday. They finished the show with them standing tall and stuff. Now, usually when that happens, that's a signal to fans and critics and pundits over the years that means the person that just got destroyed in the ring, looking up at the lights, is going to win at the pay-per-view event. So we're going to stick with that philosophy and that time-honored tradition, and we're going to go with the Shield to rebound, regroup, and beat Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre. The Shield's -280, but hey, listen, we want an easy bet here. We want something that's going to give us guaranteed money. Taking the Shield in Melbourne, Australia at the Super Showdown, because you know why? They're easy money.
Rick, will you be one of the fans that will be up at 2 a.m. on the West Coast watching?
I won't go to bed. I'll stay up and watch it.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, we had NFL and WWE all around with easy money and risky bets. So hopefully you guys like that. We're going to jump into our last segment, Show Me the Money Line. Stay tuned for that. All right, guys. Welcome to the last segment here of Odds On Favorites, Show Me the Money Lines. We got myself, Rick, and Taylor. We're going to blow through the entire schedule for the NFL for this week. We're going to just do our outright picks based on the money line. We're keeping track of our records for you guys. If you want, it's not up on the site yet, but will be hopefully here within the next day or so. Taylor's going to write a blog post going over all of the records that we've had so far since we started doing this segment. And then we'll try to do that for you guys each and every week, so you guys don't have to watch videos if you want to keep track of our records. We'll try to keep all that up there for you, and we'll be honest. I promise that we won't fudge the numbers or anything like that. All right, guys, let's just jump into this here. We have the we have the Thursday game of the Colts against the Patriots. We have a money line of the Pats at -500 and the Colts at +405.
Yeah, and that's a pretty high spread, too, for a quick turnaround game. Double digits for the Patriots being favored. Don't know if Gronk's going to play. Don't know if T.Y. Hilton's going to play. Don't know how effective Edelman's going to be. With that said, you still have to go with the Patriots at home against the Colts on a short week. I just don't see how old man Brady's going to lose this one.
I'm kind of intrigued by the Colts in general. They're better than I guess some people thought, but on the road in New England, they got well last week against Miami. It's New England at home. I think that's the easy pick.
Yeah, you said it right there. Easy pick. New England at home, riding that train. How about the Ravens and the Browns? The Browns are the dogs at +148 money line. Ravens -168.
With Taylor's Browns there, I think they're going to put up a good fight this week against the Ravens. Every time Baltimore comes to town, Cleveland gets a little fired up because they hate them, basically. That's the old Browns right there, the old Browns versus the new Browns. I'm still taking the Ravens in this one. They get their best cornerback. Jimmy Smith is coming back after his 4-game suspension. The defense is going to be even better. The offense is slowly improving their consistency week after week. Joe Flacco doesn't look terrible like he did last year. He actually looks like a serviceable quarterback. Baltimore to win this game. Ravens on the road, better team.
Yeah, the Ravens got him some weapons this year. He does look better. The defense, like you said, has been really good. Baker Mayfield's played well, but he's also been pretty careless with the ball. You can't turn the ball over against the Ravens and hope to win. As plucky as the Browns are and everything, I'm still going to take the Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens coming off that win from the Steelers. I'm going to side with you guys on this one. I don't think they're going to go in and blow it to the Browns, a divisional game, and lose this one. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens with this one with you guys. How about the Jaguars and the Chiefs? Chiefs are minus 175 on the money line, and the Jaguars are plus 155. The Chiefs are at home.
I know Taylor was just talking about the Jaguars and stuff, but I still got to go with the Chiefs here at home. The Jaguars won't have Fournette, and I don't trust Blake Bortles on the road playing in one of the hardest stadiums to play in if you're a visiting team. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Mahomes could struggle, but I still think they have enough weapons to win this game. I'm going Chiefs at home.
I'm taking Jacksonville, as mentioned earlier.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I like the Jags here. I'm going to go with the Jags on this one.
Oh,
I'm going to go with the Jags. Going with my gut. I'm taking Taylor's Jags here, or Taylor's Blake Bortles.
Taking Taylor's Blake Bortles. All right, here we go, Chiefs.
Titans in Buffalo. Plus 155 for the Bills, minus 175 for the Titans.
Bills.
You guys picked the Bills last week. I picked the Packers. If you're picking the Bills this week, I am taking the Titans.
I'm not ready to jump off the Bills bandwagon yet. I'm not ready. Not just yet. Not just yet.
There's a reason I'm leading this thing so far. It's probably because of the Bills.
Don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. There's still plenty of time to come back. I'm just not ready to jump off the Bills train yet. I'll keep drinking the Bills Kool-Aid.
Fair enough.
Oh, man. How about the Giants at Carolina? Giants are plus 250 dogs. Panthers are minus 300 favorites.
How does one team with so much talent look so inept? That's the Giants for you. Panthers are coming off a bye week. Plenty of time to rest up and prepare for a bad Giants team. Give me Carolina.
This seems like one of the easier games of the week. I will also take Carolina.
Yeah, not even a question. I'm not taking the Giants, so Panthers all the way for me. We talked about this earlier in the show, but we have the Broncos and the Jets with that low point spread. But the Broncos are minus 106 money line, and the Jets are minus 114.
Broncos.
I don't see how the Jets are favored. That's pretty baffling.
Yeah.
Jump all over Denver while you can.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. I'm taking Denver as well. Atlanta at Pittsburgh. Falcons coming in as the dogs, plus 155 on the money line. Steelers minus 175.
I took the Falcons in the points in our spread and butter. I'm taking the Falcons to win the game outright.
Yeah, they're due for some good luck. And the Steelers look rickety and bad. And, again, good value on Atlanta, so take Atlanta.
I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. I'm hoping for Big Ben's comeback right here. He hasn't looked the greatest. He's been throwing some picks. He just hasn't been looking like himself. But I'm hoping he pulls it together. And the Falcons, it's a hard one to do it against, but I think they're going to come in prepared for this game, and I think they're going to be ready. So I'm going to take the Steelers on this one. Got the Packers and the Lions. Lions dogs at plus 103 for the money line, and Packers at minus 123.
Took the Packers in the spread and butter as well. I'm going to stick with them to win outright.
I took the Lions at home, division game. Inside, Matt Stafford should be good. I will take the Lions.
Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers on this one. They destroyed my Bills. I hope they destroy those Lions even more. Miami at Cincinnati. The Dolphins going in as the dogs at plus 230, and the Bengals favored at minus 275.
It's hard seeing the Bengals that big of a favorite, but
Yeah.
I've been talking them up all season. I think they're in the regular season, they're great. Postseason's another story. This week, we're going with the Bengals to win.
A.J. Green's not the only guy left anymore. They got John Ross in there. They got Tyler Boyd now. Andy Dalton has real weaponry. Miami's 3-1, but that is super shaky looking. So I'm also on the Bengals wagon.
I'll tell you what, I have Cam Newton in my fantasy league, and he was on bye last week, and I picked up Andy Dalton on the waivers to fill in for me because I had previously had Tyrod Taylor as my backup, but that didn't work out too well. So I picked up Andy Dalton. He was sitting on the waivers, and he produced pretty well for me last week. I just liked what I saw out of him. So and I'm obviously not a fan of the Finns, so I'm gonna take the Bengals on this one. We got the Raiders and the Chargers. We have the Chargers favorites minus 240 and the Raiders at plus 200.
You know, the Raiders have played the Chargers tough over the last several years. They're one of the teams that have matched up well against the Chargers. However, this year, Raiders don't have a defense. Chargers have an explosive offense. I can't see how Oakland goes down to LA to beat the Chargers. Give me Rivers and company to win.
The Chargers just make everything really difficult. Like, they should have easily beaten the Niners last week without Garoppolo, but they struggled, hung on to win. This is going to be yet another road game for the Chargers in their home stadium. There's going to be a ton of silver and black in the stands here. So, they don't really have a home field advantage, which makes things kind of tough to project. But like you said, the Raiders don't have a defense. It'd be nice if they had a pass rusher whose name rhymes with Shmamil Kak, but they don't. It gives me indigestion to pick the Chargers here, but it just feels like a huge trap, but I'll take the Chargers anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you, Taylor. I'm going to take the Chargers as well. How about this one's interesting. I'm excited to see what you guys think. The Cardinals and the 49ers, with the 49ers favorite at minus 215, and the Cardinals as the dogs playing away at plus 185.
The Cardinals, wow. They could have beat the Bears a couple weeks ago. They had a chance of beating Seattle last week. They have enough talent to beat the Niners without Garoppolo and McKinnon on offense. I've liked Beathard since he played for Iowa, but I don't think he has what it takes. So it's a duel between Josh Rosen and C.J. Beathard. Who do you think is going to win? I like what I saw from Rosen. I'm going with the Cardinals.
I was super impressed with C.J. Beathard last week. He has a lot more talent than I expected. He can run pretty well. They had a legit chance to win that game. I just don't see it with the Cardinals going on the road, rookie QB like that. San Francisco's not great, but I will still take the Niners. This is the garbage game of the week.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the Cardinals on this one too. I think they could pick up a win here. I mean, I think if they lose this game, I think they're real potential to go 1-16. I think out of this garbage battle, I think they might be able to come out on top. Not by much. It's going to be a really horrible game to watch, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Cardinals to get their first and arguably only win here. Then we got the Vikings and the Eagles. Eagles are the home team, minus 170 favorites, and the Vikings are coming in at the plus 150 dogs.
This is tough, okay, because the Eagles aren't looking like the Eagles from last year. They just lost in overtime to the Titans. They should have beat the Titans handily, but they blew a lot. They left a lot of plays on the field. I can't see the Vikings losing 3 straight games. Plus, the Vikings have had they played the Rams on the Thursday night game a week ago, so they have had a few extra days to rest and prepare. I think this is the right time to get at the Eagles. I'm going Vikings here.
Yeah, the Eagles don't look right. Wentz is still kind of getting back into the rhythm of things. They had that turd against the Bills, which is inexplicable. But that was a tough game last week. They played the Rams pretty well. Kirk Cousins looks pretty good, Buffalo game aside. On the road, they're out for revenge. The Eagles crushed them in the NFC title game last year. I think they're hungry. I think they're not going to fall to 1-3-1. So I'll take Minnesota too.
I'm with you guys. I'm with Minnesota here. I think we're probably all in agreement on the Rams-Seahawks game to all take the Rams. I know Taylor is from his easy money.
Yeah, I think the Rams will win, even in Seattle.
Yep. Taylor, this one's for you. Cowboys and Texans. Texans are the home team favorite at -168, and the Cowboys are coming in the dogs at +148.
I hate Dallas. I don't ever want to pick Dallas to win. I think Houston finally saw the light last week in a very tough, fun game to watch against the Colts in overtime. I think Houston has enough talent to beat the Cowboys. And did I mention I hate the Cowboys? I'm taking Houston.
I think this is going to be a huge game for Deshaun Watson. The Cowboys secondary looks super vulnerable. The Texans have weapons. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is the best receiver in football. Will Fuller's a touchdown machine whenever Watson's out there. They unleashed this rookie Kiki QT last week, had 11 catches, 109 yards. I think Dallas just gets toasted through the air, so I think Houston wins this one at home as well.
Yeah, I don't. Rick, I'm also not a big fan of the Cowboys at all. But going in, playing the Texans at home, I don't think they're going to stand a chance here at this one. I'm taking the Texans at home. All right, guys, last game, Monday night primetime. Redskins at New Orleans. Redskins are the dogs coming in at +230. The Saints -275 favorites.
Give me the Saints in this one. Mark Ingram's back. The running game's going to be better than it's been, even though Kamara's been tearing it up. They haven't really sustained drives on the ground this year. Enter Ingram. Enter a victory for the Saints.
Saints at home. Picked up a good win last week. Two actually road wins in a row against New York and Atlanta. Ingram back. Redskins, I think they're a little bit fraudulent so far, so I will take New Orleans.
I'm with you guys. Saints at home. That's what I'm going with. And that does it. That covers all the games. So that's going to do it for our show here at Odds On Favorites. Really hope you guys have enjoyed. You can obviously check out all our previous episodes with the links below. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thank you so much.